So you talked about these four regrets. I thought maybe we can unpack them a little bit. So
Sure.
foundation, boldness, and then moral and connection. So let's start with foundation regrets. So maybe you can give us a little, just a background of what those types of regrets are, and then we can look at maybe some action items or things that people can do if they identify those in their lives.
Sure. That's a hard. The foundation regrets are somewhat hard to solve because of the nature of what they are. They're regrets of small decisions that you make early that accumulate to pretty nasty consequences later on. So let's say that let's say that tonight I don't eat very well. All right, I eat terrible food, unhealthy food. Okay, that's not cataclysmic. But if I do that regularly, over and over and over again for years, that's going to catch up to me. All right, that's a foundation. If only I had eaten better. Let's say I don't exercise. If only I'd exercised more. A lot of regrets in this category about finances. If only I'd saved more money and been less frivolous with my money. Not a single person in this database said, "Oh, my regret is that I saved too much money." Nobody has that regret, and I mean that. And so that's what these foundation regrets are: small decisions that happen early. Small decisions you make early that accumulate to pretty, as I said, negative consequences much later in life. Now, those are hard to address because you can't undo them immediately. So if I've gone 15 years without exercising regularly, I can't fix that today. So what you have to do is, and again, I quote this in the book, this hoary Chinese proverb, which is that the best time to plant a tree is 20 years ago. The second best time is today. So with foundation regrets, the most important thing is that you look back on them, you treat yourself with some degree of kindness rather than contempt, you talk about them, you disclose them, and then you start taking small actions now, recognizing that you're not going to repair the damage immediately.
Yeah. Okay. So I guess part of it is, it seems like you need a little bit of self-awareness there, right? To be able to address some of these things, like to understand that you have to move on, if you don't have self-awareness, do you think it's possible to really address some of these regrets in the right way?
I think that I don't want people. I think self-awareness is difficult and challenging. I think what people really need is a process. That is, don't rely on people's innate capacity for self-awareness, which is not massive. What you want to do is you want to equip people with a process. In the book, I talk about a process by which people can, deal with their regrets, systematic way to deal with regrets, and then ultimately to use them as an instrument for progress.
Okay. All right. And we'll talk about that process in just a minute. Okay. So we got the foundation part covered. What about boldness regrets?
Boldness are, that's regrets that people have about not asking people out on dates. It's regrets about people have about not traveling and going on adventures. It's regrets that people have about not speaking up, about not asserting themselves, about not starting businesses. As I said earlier, these are regrets if only I'd taken the chance.
Okay. And then next one, we have moral regrets.
Again, a lot of these regrets, as you know, they begin at a juncture. So, with boldness regrets, the juncture is take the chance or play it safe. And when people play it safe, they often regret it. When people don't take the chance, they often regret it. Not always, but a heck of a lot of the time, more than I would have expected. With moral regrets, the juncture is do the right thing, do the wrong thing. Take the high road, take the low road. And it's always tempting to take the low road. It's always tempting to cut corners, to be less honorable than you should be. And when we do that, not all of us, but most of us end up regretting it. And the specific regrets in this category that had the biggest numbers were regrets about marital infidelity and about bullying.
Would the moral regret, and I don't know if you have data on this, but when you think about leadership or business, for example, is the moral regret piece the one that appears most common in a business setting?
I don't know. I don't think so, actually, and I'll tell you why. I don't. That's my real answer is I don't know. But I don't think so because moral regrets were the smallest category of all, and I think that what I saw most in the realm of careers were boldness regrets.
So I wish I would have taken that opportunity.
I wish I would have, if only I'd started a business rather than stayed in this crappy job. If only I had focused more on succeeding rather than on not failing. If only I had been more entrepreneurial in my career. Yeah. If only I had spoken up more at meetings.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. And then the last one, which I think are pretty self-explanatory, but we can talk about those anyway, connection regrets. I think these are the ones that I perhaps struggle with sometimes, building closer relationships with family, reaching out to friends, having more of those deeper connections, which does require vulnerability, I think, to be able to really make those strong.
Yeah, I agree. So these are people though. But again, I mean, so I'll see your I'll see your vulnerability and raise you awkwardness, because one of the things that stands as a barrier to connecting is our feelings of awkwardness. So if you and I were friends 10 years ago and we haven't talked for a while, I might say, oh, I should really reach out to Jacob, but oh man, it's going to be really awkward. All right, so that's and I'm putting myself out there. So we think it's going to be so awkward. That's basically a version of vulnerability. Oh, it's going to feel really awkward. And besides, he's not going to care. And on that, coming back to pluralistic ignorance, we're wrong. We're wrong on both counts. A, it's not that awkward. It's very rarely anywhere remotely as awkward as people think. And B, the other side almost always welcomes the overture. I mean, 99 times out of 100. And so, so if there's a lesson in the connection regrets, it's that if you're thinking about reaching out, reach out.